Level creators rule, but rarely do they reach the easy-to-use simplicity of Super Mario Maker 2. That simplicity is what made the first game on the Wii U such a jam, and now the sequel has introduced even more mechanics like slopes and multiplayer. And with the sheer number of Switches sold against the modest Wii U numbers, there are now more levels and possibilities for players to enjoy, or at least attempt to enjoy. The trouble with Mario Maker is that this open-ended creation has fostered a sort of miscommunication in what makes a level playable, let alone any good. It is, of course, a matter of taste, but today we're going to be looking at what makes a Mario Maker course good, meaning levels that adhere to the normal design found in Nintendo's industry-defining series. It should be noted up front that I personally prefer courses with a theme, idea, or at the very least, cohesion in mind. Levels that are meant for the hardcore or the dreaded Kaizo stages, which are modeled after the Kaizo series of hacks and the genre it inspired, are not for me. If that's your bag, great! But to me, I have more fun in playing well-designed courses instead of levels that were designed to make tubers scream at their cameras. One of the biggest cliches in detailing level design is citing the first stage of Super Mario Bros. There's a good chance you've heard how it teaches the player just about everything they need to know within the opening moments of the game, how holding the button makes Mario jump higher, and the hidden blocks show that there are secrets around every corner. It's a cliche because it's true. Mario's design has always been about presenting the player with obstacles and teaching them how to overcome each one. And that's probably the first and arguably biggest problem a lot of Mario Maker courses have. All too often, course designers are designing with a specific playstyle in mind. Usually it's their own. While you shouldn't have to go in thinking everyone playing your new course has never touched a Mario game in their life, it does help to demonstrate what you're attempting to achieve early on, particularly if your course has a theme or gimmick to it. It's also worth keeping in mind that while Mario Maker largely plays by the same rules between each of its 5 different game styles, there are certain differences that can be difficult to keep straight between each. A good basis for a course is to start small, and then eventually build upon what you've established and flesh out your ideas into something bigger and more grandiose, rather than the other way around. Hints such as coins or enemies, or if you want to be super thorough, arrows, are a great way to keep the player engaged while also moving forward at all times. One of the big things the earlier Mario games did well, while the latter ones slacked on, was momentum through a sense of progression. Most earlier Mario stages keep players engaged and moving forward. You very rarely need to wait on an obstacle or platform to keep Mario and the screen moving forward. Later games, namely in the new Super Mario Bros. Series, have a much slower sense of progression through each stage, often requiring the player to slow down and wait before continuing forward. You'll want to be sure that the structure of your course never confuses the player, though adding a level of reward for exploration is always a welcome bonus. That should never get in the way of getting to the exit, however, and sometimes you'll run into courses that are too clever for their own good. It's fine to use hidden blocks as a reward for curious players, but using them to progress is often frowned upon, as all too often, their arbitrary placement will lead to frustration. At the same time, that progression has to find the right balance in length. There are plenty of stages that have good ideas that make 2 key mistakes by simply going too long or, far worse, forgetting checkpoints. Super Mario Maker 2 allows more than one checkpoint this time around, and that's a hugely welcome addition. For creators, it can be easy to forget to place a checkpoint when you're able to speedrun your stage due to knowing the ins and outs. But for some players, dying halfway is a big enough punishment to quit. And always remember that even with well-placed checkpoints, an average Mario level is typically about 1.5 to 2 minutes. Going much more means you're likely at the end of the game. You never want a course to overstay its welcome, at least you have folks swiping away when it comes up in the endless challenge. One of the biggest things I don't like in stages is punishing a player through outright cheap tactics like an off-screen obstacle, or just through near impossible jumps that must become muscle memory to complete. Creating a real challenge over something simple is a feat in and of itself. And if nothing else, Mario Maker is truly illuminating at the average player's level of skill. I don't consider my courses a barometer of quality, but the clear rate combined with the failure point overview is very telling. Like we mentioned earlier, designing with your playstyle and skill level in mind usually won't lead to a good course. If your goal is to create something that's more akin to what the wonderful folks at Nintendo would make, it may be worth designing a level below what you would normally play. Probably the best rule of thumb for designing: if you can't beat your level without taking a hit, it needs to be retooled. The final point cannot be stressed enough: playtesting. Even the best of levels will fall victim to a gimmick not working right or a platform disappearing due to a mistimed jump, soft-locking the player out of completing your level. It's important to playtest from every conceivable angle to ensure that your level is as best as it can possibly be. Everything that we've talked about so far is moot if you don't ensure that the stage actually works. One of the lamest cop-outs that stages who get an expert or super expert rating is utilizing the dev exit, which is just a door that's hidden out of sight that a normal player wouldn't be able to find. If you feel the need to cheat in order to complete your level, then that says it's not worth your time, and if it's not worth your own, why should it be worth anyone else's? Playtesting is the thread that ties all our other points together, and always remember, just because you can beat it in one try does not mean everyone else can. Super Mario Maker 2 is one of those games that will have a huge community, no matter what, for years to come. And, of course, that comes with all the benefits and detriments with it. There's always more to add in creating fantastic stages, but what we've got today is a great set of tips for getting started and to keep in mind no matter what your skill level. As much as good courses should be celebrated, the fact is that levels to troll tubers for YouTube bucks will likely never go away. It's because of that I don't see the landscape of levels changing much, if at all, but I do have hope. Hope that, in the long run, we can get some stages that make the endless challenge at any difficulty just a little bit cleaner. Want to give a shout out to the folks who gave input on Twitter for this video, including Masinko, Aaron, Static, and everyone else who replied. Also make sure to check out my Twitch where we've been playing Mario Maker. We need your levels, so give a follow and tune in so we can play your stages. See you then!